to the Jamie and Stephen Show. Let's talk movies, music and magic. And today we're going to be talking about Saludos Amigos.
Buenas noches, Stephen.
Hi, Jamie.
Only fitting because, Saludos Amigos means greetings, friends in Spanish.
I knew amigos.
Yeah.
Means mates.
And buenas noches is good night.
Oh.
Ah.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah. The little Spanish that I know.
Oh. To be fair, I don't know if we're going to get that many facts for this one. So, what did you think of it? Was it alright? Mark it out 5. Let's go.
Right, well, shall I start with the IMDb synopsis?
Yes.
Right, so according to IMDb, their synopsis is Disney animators tour South America and present 4 animated shorts inspired by their trip. It's about accurate, isn't it?
Yeah, there's not a lot you can say about that. I mean, I did do my own synopsis.
Oh, let's hear it then.
Which was work outing gets filmed whilst the rest of the world is at war.
That actually is perfect.
Yeah.
It pretty much is what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I might use that for 3 Caballeros as well, but like the sequel. Second World Outing.
So yeah, it was released in August 1942 in Brazil.
Yes.
And it's the first time that a Disney feature film has been released before the States.
Because that was February, wasn't it?
Yeah, the next year.
Yeah.
So does that mean that this was released in Brazil before Bambi?
I don't know.
Let me go back on my notes. The same time, August 1942,
Oh, wow.
Bambi was released. So, yeah. I wonder why they waited like 8 months.
Well, I think one of the things with this film is it is American propaganda.
Oh, yeah.
Which I'll go into
Yes, you're going to get into that in a bit later.
So whether or not that was one of the reasons why, maybe it was a case of a bit of a friendly thing with Latin America.
Yeah.
To say, oh, we'll release it here first.
Yeah.
Look how much we love you guys.
Yes.
And then it was just released later on.
Yeah.
It was a compilation.
Yeah. It's only 42 minutes long.
Shortest film.
Yeah, which is weird because I always was under the impression that Dumbo was the shortest.
Most people don't class this one as a film.
No, I know. I wouldn't have classed it. I mean, it is, according to IMDb, it's a short. It's not classed as a feature-length film. But yeah, it's part of the classics.
Yeah. I tell you what, if we were on Pointless, this is the film.
Yeah.
You would mention.
Yes.
You go for that one.
Yeah. That either like one person would know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, I'm going for that.
Yeah.
1 or 0.
I couldn't find out how much it cost to make. I was only able to find out how much it made.
Okay.
But I think when we get to the facts, that will explain why you can't find out how much it was.
No.
So it made 1.1 million, which isn't too bad considering the period.
What was the other one making? The other films? Pinocchio, that was 1 point something million.
Yeah, I mean, that was before the war.
Yeah.
Before America went into the war.
Yeah.
So there's no like famous people as such in terms of actors in this, but the narrator, Fred Shields, he became well known in the Disney community. I didn't find out if he was a Disney legend or not though, so if anybody knows, let us know, because he's done a lot of work. He did a lot of cartoon, like the shorts, including How to Play Golf, which is
one of my favourites.
And he is in 3 Caballeros as well.
Okay.
And he's also the voice of Bambi's father. the prince of the forest.
The guy who comes at the end.
Yeah, that randomly turns up when,
Yeah.
the mother's
Yeah.
dead, to tell them she won't be coming back.
I'll look after you now.
But yeah, he was a famous radio voice before he found his various jobs through Disney. So yeah, he's probably the most notable person. Oh, well, there's the singer as well, but I forgot to write his name down. The singer of the song, but we'll get to the song. I'll Google it on my phone.
We'll Google it.
Yeah, but
That's what we'll do, is I'm talking, she'll Google it.
yes. Right, so, shall we get into the facts? Because there's quite a lot of interesting facts with this one.
Yes.
Yes?
Let's go for it.
Okay. Go.
Me?
Yeah, you've
you
probably
just
got...
say we've got loads of facts
Yeah,
to go over to
I've got like the non-propaganda stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
So probably one of the reasons why you couldn't find how much it cost to make is because it was funded by the US government.
Right, okay.
And yeah, it was more of a FBI kind of thing. So basically Latin America had quite strong ties with Nazi Germany.
Yes, I did know that.
And the idea of the film was, you don't want to be mates with them. Disney, Mickey Mouse especially, which is weird because he's not in it.
No.
But it was seen as like it's like the mascot. Walt became this ambassador for North and South America relationships, Latin America relationships and things. It was called the Good Neighbour Policy.
Okay. We've heard that a lot over the years.
Have you?
Yeah, with other wars.
No. Just don't watch the news. But yeah, it was commissioned by the US Department of State, which is why it was released in Janeiro.
Rio de Janeiro.
I've been trying to practice how to pronounce that.
The capital
all morning.
of Brazil.
And one of the things with the studios, which they did, was because they focused on releasing it there. I think now when we look back from 2023 or 2024, we might even be listening to it in 2025, who knows. But basically we see things a little bit differently, where we wouldn't dream of having a character of a different nationality voiced by a white American actor and things. So a lot of the things that they did were not necessarily kind of progressive in terms of the usual things like voices and the characters and actors and things like that, but it was very progressive, shall we say, in the fact that the songs, the final one, which is called Aquaria do Brasil, I believe, it was actually first performed in 1939, but it wasn't a great success. But when they released the film, it became the first Brazilian song to be played 1 million times on American radio.
Wow.
So it wasn't so much pushing boundaries with who was making it or how they was making it in that sense, but it was pushing the boundaries of mixing those two cultures together, which the Good Neighbour Policy what they wanted. So in that way it did succeed.
Yeah. And didn't the song become, because I found this out, that the song is still famous now in Brazil.
Yes, I did hear that it was still it's still popular.
Yeah, I only recognise it from the film. I've not heard it outside of watching the film, and I think a little bit. I think it's because a little bit of it is in Three Caballeros as well.
Oh, okay.
So that's why I recognised it when that segment was on.
The other thing, just for the Disney fact fans out there, is it was the first animated feature film from Disney that was based on original property. So it wasn't based on an original story. It wasn't based on the previous characters. It was purely Disney.
Yeah, which I'd give them major credit for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they were, because the strikes had happened, because the majority of Disney staff had been drafted into the war. Walt had to, I suppose it was his brother really, but had to find funding from somewhere. So linking up with the government to make this not only kept the studios going, but also obviously helped the government with what they needed to do.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, I found out the singer, Ari Barroso.
Say it again.
Ari Barroso.
Take 3.
Yeah, I think he's either... Yeah, the song is by Ari Barroso. That's what it says.
I
So
didn't really recognise any of the
No.
songs. I'm not going to lie. I think the only thing out of the whole film that I recognised was the plane section. Is it Pablo? Can't even
Pedro.
remember the name. Pedro.
I think it's
Yeah.
Pedro.
That's
I've written it down.
That's the only bit that
Yeah, Pedro.
That's the only bit that I kind of
Which
recognised
wasn't
from this.
supposed to be for this. That idea, I read earlier that idea of that segment was as for a short anyway by Joe Grant.
Yes.
The famous Joe Grant, as we've come to get
Well,
to
we're gonna
know,
have to do
because
a special.
I know, I feel like he's been such a huge part of this era.
Yeah.
Um,
We get to the 50s.
I know. Does he disappear?
Not that he disappears, but it literally becomes the Joe Grant show.
Oh, okay.
Walt's doing his Disneyland.
Oh, yeah, of course.
So it really does change. So
Mm.
every time his name... One thing that I did notice is when the credits were appearing on... I don't think it was this one. I think it was like Bambi and whatnot. When the credits appear and you see the name Joe Grant...
I know.
It's like, I'm recognising it
Yes.
every time now. It's like, oh, there he is.
Yeah, I know. I was like that with like Ollie and Frank Thomas, you know,
Yeah.
when I figured out who they were like years ago.
Yeah.
And anytime I saw their name, I was like,
What is that?
yeah. But now that we're doing these,
Yeah.
when I've been, since watching Snow White, there's been so many names that
Yes.
I've recognised, and he's definitely one of them. But yeah.
The fact that he hasn't got more like admiration
I know.
to his name is
Yeah.
just but we'll get to him more in the 50s.
Yes,
As I say,
hopefully. Yeah.
Walt's off doing other stuff.
Yeah.
So he's very much there. We've just mentioned about Pedro, but a cartoonist from Brazil known as Pipo, he didn't like Pedro, so created his own plain cartoon strips.
Oh.
And actually became one of the most famous, popular cartoon. Condorito. We wouldn't have seen it or anything, but in Brazil it became one of the biggest
Wow.
cartoon strips. I believe it was a cartoon show as well.
Oh my god.
But it was based on the fact that he didn't like Chile being represented by Pedro.
Right, okay.
Yes, okay, there may be some
Mm-hmm.
boundaries that are being broken and
Yeah.
things in terms of that relationship and diversity, but there's also a lot of, well, actually that's an American idea
Yes.
of what Chile
Yeah.
represents.
Yeah.
So,
Did you discover the thing about the mountain that's featured in that segment? Like why they went down that road with the mountain?
no, why?
Right, so apparently when they originally flew on their tour, the animators and that, they flew
Workouting.
Yeah. They flew past that mountain that they're representing. I can't remember what the mountain's called. I don't know if I wrote it down. Let me just check me notes. No, I didn't. But I did read that the mountain that's featured is a famous mountain, and that
That we don't know.
yeah, I can't remember the name, but when the crew flew past the mountain, obviously they were amazed at how close they were, but they actually saw a plane wreckage.
Really? Oh.
And that's where, when they went and brought the Pedro segment in to be part of this film, they then said, right, we'll add this mountain, and that's why that whole thing with the mountain is in that segment. And it's because they saw a wreckage and it had nosedived, like it was nose first. So the animators saw that like in real life when they were doing one of their aerial tours, or they were flying past it from one place to another. I can't remember.
We do like jolly facts here, don't we? Let's,
Yeah.
If anyone knows any fun facts that will cheer us up, just keep them to yourself. We don't want to know. Do you have any other facts about the Pedro section?
No. Just that it was originally going to be a short. And then when they decided to put these things together, the ideas that were there for shorts were then brought to the table, and they says, right, why don't we go with this one?
Yeah.
And then they thought, well, we could include the mountain and do a thing with that. And because obviously, sadly, that plane wreckage that they saw, I'm not saying they saw the plane wreckage happen, but it was one that had happened, and they saw the wreckage that had been left.
Yeah.
So that's why.
Yeah.
Why they decide to use it as for Chile? I'm guessing it's because of where that mountain is. So that mountain must be, there, and they thought, well, that because each segment represents a different country in
Yes. I did learn something.
Oh, okay.
Is it Lake Titicaca?
Yes.
I did not know that was a real place.
Yeah, it's on the border of two places, isn't it?
It was when it was going over the map. I was like, oh. I always thought it was just a name because it's mentioned in Nab Fab, and she calls someone Little Titicaca.
Oh, right, okay.
Thought it was a made up word. So yeah, and I was like, Lake Titicaca. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Quick Google, it's real.
Yeah, so that one's supposed to represent the Andes. Yeah. So, yeah.
I didn't actually find too much about that section.
No, that was it. It was just that it was representative of the Andes. That was all I could find. And that obviously that Donald Duck, you know, he's the main character really in this whole thing, and that it's not he goes on to do other things that's to do with South America.
Yeah, and I think that just continues even till now.
Yeah,
like that's who he's linked with, is on rides. And
yeah, I mean, it's maybe because obviously ducks are known to fly south.
Maybe.
Maybe like that whole continuation of, obviously South America being hotter, and then continuing him being involved with that sort of...
Well, the parrot, Jose Karaoke.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be able to pronounce that all the way through the karaoke.
Hold on.
Well, while you're looking at that, basically...
Oh, I did write it down. Jose Karaoke, yeah.
Karaoke?
Or Carioca.
Karaoke?
No, it could be Carioca.
Karaoke. It's on a postcard, please. There's no address. There's no prize. Well, karaoke is a term for someone born in Rio.
Oh!
Why the surname?
Right, which is why he represents Brazil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He continued being famous in the continent. He was created by a Brazilian cartoon, also called Jose.
Yes.
Jose Carlos de Brito. And the character of Jose not only went on to appear in Three Caballeros and also in Melody Time, but also appeared in House of Mouse and Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Did he? I don't remember him being in Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
No, but he's there. He's in the crowd.
Oh, okay.
So it is a.
I did read that he became really popular within the comics. So those Popolino.
Yes.
Yeah, so he's quite well known in Italy, where the Popolino comics are done.
I know that in Brazil he had a comic. It ran from 1961. There was a gap between 2001 to 2012, and the actual comic ended in 2018.
Oh my god.
But he still appears in comics.
Yeah.
Now. So there's a Mickey Mouse comic, there is a Donald Duck comic, and he appears in those now. So, he's still getting there. He's still going on.
Not doing bad for his age.
No. Not bad for a character I can't pronounce the name of. And more recently, he was in the reboot of DuckTales.
Yes.
But that was more for the Three Caballeros.
Yeah,
so
that episode.
I'll leave that for another time.
Yeah.
And Once Upon a Studio.
Yes, he was in that.
Yes.
Yeah. So for those who don't know, so we're recording now after the 100 day.
Yes.
So Once Upon a Studio obviously was the 15-minute short that Disney made to celebrate 100 years, and literally every character that Disney ever created was in this short.
The representation was different.
Yeah.
'Cause, I cheered when I
And
saw
if you've
it.
not watched it, you need to watch it.
Yeah. If anything, just for a fun,
Yeah.
like, hide the kids' ears, but a fun fan wank, basically.
Yeah, I mean, cause it's literally like, see how many you recognise, because there is so many.
And the original voices as well.
I know. Which is amazing. Anyway,
we digress.
I know, we're getting away from where we're supposed to.
He was in it.
Yeah, okay, he was in it. Yeah. So what about Mary Blair? Because she is part of the team that they send off on this work trip.
So, Mary Blair worked at Disney, then left. That's not the whole story.
Okay.
You're looking at me as if to go, okay.
No,
she left just before this, and actually they went on a South American holiday. And that was Mary Blair and her husband Lee, who also worked on the film. And they went on holiday with Walt and Lillian. And while they were on holiday, and they did the work, Mary was made an art supervisor for Saludos Amigos because she impressed Walt so much. And I think what we've got to remember is that this time, at the year that this was being made, or around that time, to have a woman art supervisor is nearly unknown.
Yeah.
So again, the film is one that broke the boundary, but not necessarily with what it was trying to break with. For those who don't know who Mary Blair is, you just
need to go on. It's a small world.
You really just need to get your life together, if I'm honest. So she was a concept artist for Alice in Wonderland, Peter Pan, Cinderella, and Song of the South, and that's just the tip.
I know.
She also worked on numerous art pieces, concept art for things in Disney parks. So It's a Small World. You mentioned those colours.
Yeah, patterns.
They're all her.
Yeah.
She also did this large mosaic, which is in the lift shaft.
Is this the famous...
In the Contemporary Hotel.
Yes, the famous goat with 5 legs.
Yes. And it's because...
And if you don't know what I'm talking about, then you need to watch Behind the Attraction Series 1.
Okay.
And it's the one episode about the Contemporary, I think. And it's about that. They mention... I think it's about the Contemporary. I'm sure it is.
Yeah, it's in the Contemporary anyway.
Yeah.
That's where it
is. And the art piece, I'm sure it's in... Or it's in the Imagineering one.
I've seen it. It's huge.
Oh, how is it?
This mosaic. It goes up. It's not like it's on just in the lift. It's like a staircase around the lift. And it
wow.
Yeah. And it's such a... Because the original plans for the Contemporary was the Mexican kind of feel. And they were going to do like a Grand Canyon kind of thing on the inside with the different coloured layered rocks. It fits that.
Right, okay.
But it also doesn't stand out in the theme that is there now.
Yeah, because it seems very modern.
Yeah.
But yet her art piece is not.
Yeah, It
is, but it isn't.
She leads.
Yeah.
That's what she does. She leads. And Disney was really lucky to have her.
Oh, God, yeah.
Like, that's just she wasn't really liked when she was there. The other animators didn't like the fact that this woman was...
Well, it's most likely because she was a woman.
Yeah. You can't do this.
Yeah.
You can't do that. You can't do... I mean, that's
and
not
she
to
clearly
badmouth
had...
else.
Such an impression on Walt, and he was clearly loving anything and everything that she was coming up with.
After Walt Disney died, she didn't get any commissions.
I'm not surprised.
Kind of just blocked her out.
Yeah. But yet now, they praise her.
Yeah.
So it's
Especially
those. It's
Alice in Wonderland little bits that she did.
yeah. I think obviously because now like there's the new generations that are in.
Yeah.
You know, from the 80s that
Yeah.
are running it. So between before that, it was all the previous men that obviously was maybe jealous
Yeah.
of her.
Yeah.
Jealous of the attention that she got from Walt and the praise that she would have gotten from him. And
Yeah, and as I said, as soon as not as soon as, but when he passed away, her commissions just dwindled. She died in 1978.
oh wow.
So, for us, quite a while ago.
Yeah, but that wouldn't have been that. I mean, that was only 12 years after Walt Disney,
Yeah.
7 years after Walt Disney World opened.
Yeah, and do you know what was the big kick in the teeth that we see now? She was made a Disney legend, but not until 1991.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
13 years passed after she had passed away.
Yeah, but really, she should have.
She should
I mean,
have been
unless I don't know if they were doing that
I'm not too sure.
before.
I hope that it was one of those things where they started doing it around that
Yeah,
time
and
and she was one of the
Yes,
first.
I hope so.
I think we'll get more to that when the Disney legends start becoming a thing,
Yeah,
which I think we hear most about it
now.
now.
Yeah, it's a real thing now. Like Jodie Benson's just become one.
Yes. I
You
mean,
know,
when we get to the films within the last, say, 10
yeah.
years or so, we'll be saying, oh yeah, and this person's
Yeah.
a Disney legend.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know if
So-
Joe Grant is an honorary legend.
Could be.
We'll have to look into.
Have a look at that one.
Yeah.
But yes, as I say, she was married to someone called Lee Blair. Unfortunately, I couldn't find any information about him.
Yeah, he's credited though. And he is
Yeah, she
on
said
he's
he's
even
there.
got and he's even got an IMDb profile.
Hey.
But there's no information.
So I genuinely don't know.
Yeah. Let me just double check.
And it's I'd like to do probably a little bit more research on him and.
I mean,
look,
why
to
is
my
the-
knowledge?
I mean,
that's-
unless he's in, like, because there is going to be a Mary Blair book. I know there is one, unless he's mentioned in that.
Could be, yeah.
Yeah.
Mean, I don't have any books about her, but
So according to IMDb, okay, so this is like quickly on my phone Googling. So he was a writer known for Fantasia, the original The Untouchables, and Disneyland, the television show. And he died in 1993. So 15 years after her. Yeah, it's just like writer and story that he's credited for on IMDb. He won a gold medal for the US in the 1932 Olympic Games in watercolor paint. Watercolor painting. I did not know that was part of the Olympics.
I know that from watching QI that there was random things.
Oh my
in
God.
some of the older
Well, there you go,
Olympics.
folks.
Yes, if
For
you've
one
learned
of
nothing
those-
else.
Every day's a school day. I never knew watercolor painting was a sport. I can't wait to tell Ben that.
I'd still fail.
Like, I'm going to keep that as one of those facts.
That's
you know,
one of
to
them
throw.
things.
Yes, I am going to remember, and I'm going to be like, oh,
Yeah.
did you know
Yeah.
that watercolor painting was in the Olympics in 1932?
Do you know what the annoying thing is? If we're ever in an old folks' home together, that's going to be the thing that you bring up. Do you
Remember when we discovered?
Say yes, Jamie. Yes, I do.
But yeah, so no, we have. That's all we know of Lee Blair.
I might do a little bit more research on him.
Yeah.
I sometimes you just find names
Yeah.
that you want to find more out. When I was doing the essay things, and it was Chicken Little. Not the best film in the world, but there's not a lot of information out there.
No.
And I thought I'd really like to learn more.
Yeah.
So when we get to that...
Oh, I can't wait to get to Chicken Little because I love Chicken Little.
Wow.
So, Have you got any more facts, or shall we get into what we actually thought of the film?
I do. More facts. Look at me go. Look at me go.
I can't believe you actually had more facts about this film.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So, in the film, Goofy is seen smoking.
Oh my god.
Jamie's also drinking wine, and Jamie can be
Goofy.
seen or heard choking.
So, that could be why there's that message.
Yes, it is.
Before the start of the film.
So in home releases, that bit was edited out. However, the bit where Jose and Donald Duck, they're doing the same with the cigar, and they light. Donald lights the cigar. That stayed in.
Yeah.
But Goofy smoking was a no-no.
It's obviously because it was Goofy.
Probably.
And because he's like perceived as this like homely, naive, like figure that people want to sort of look after, and the thought of him smoking is like a child smoking, like Pinocchio.
Because you don't really see Donald Duck as a child.
No, he's a grumpy old man. That's how people perceive him. He's grumpy. Okay.
He's an adult.
But Goofy, no, he's
Goofy's just. He's an odd one. It depends what show he's in.
Yeah,
to what age you kind of think
it's still that naive, vulnerable, because most of his shorts are about him learning to do something.
Learning how to smoke. But yes, that was cut out. But when it came onto Disney Plus, it's uncut. So the version that you see on there is
I think nowadays, to be honest, it's not going to have an effect. I mean, people watching that sort of thing, it's not going to be, oh, Mom, can I have a cigarette? Or sorry, as we say, can I have a fag? Because we say a cigarette is a fag in the UK. But no.
What, the cost of living and how expensive cigarettes are? No, don't do it. Buy a drink instead.
I never watched a cartoon like Pinocchio, for example, and turned round to Mum and said, "Oh, can I try a cigar?" No.
I mean, for about 15 years of my life, I did try to track down a roadrunner with a giant anvil. On a bit more of a serious note, the film, we're obviously going to go on to what we think.
Okay.
Critics was mixed.
Yes.
However, the film was nominated for 3 Oscars. It was nominated for its musical score, the original song, which was the opening song, and also the best sound recording. So, the animation, the picture hasn't really got a look in. The storyline, it's mainly about the music.
Yeah.
So what did we think?
Oh, wow. So I put this on over a week ago, and like I said, because my boys will watch the shorts. So, and because I needed to watch it for our, podcast, and because I couldn't remember watching it properly, but I think it's solely because I did not have this on video or DVD ever.
See, I had it on DVD when I was collecting them all, but then I had them all, so that's not really an achievement for me.
No.
I knew the Three Caballeros more.
Yeah, the Three Caballeros is the one for me that when we get to it, you will know how my love for that film. But yeah, so I put this on a week ago, and like, I just, it was like in the background, and like now and again I was like, oh, Donald, Goofy. I was like, oh, Goofy's in this one. Oh, and a plane. Okay. And then, isn't that her that made It's a Small World? That designed It's a Small World? So earlier today I put it on again, and while the boys were at school, and I sat, and I honestly, I really struggled to focus. It just did not, like, I just could not engage with it. It was really hard for me to keep watching. The bits that I did like, were, weirdly enough, the bits that they went back and recorded after the trip.
Oh.
When they realised, we don't have them walking on the plane. No, I'm only joking. No, so I liked seeing that they were going on this trip. So I liked the live action bit. And I was watching it and I was like, so this is going to be like part documentary, part cartoon. But the poor animation really let it down for me. But I understand, having done, the research, that it wasn't their fault. They had to do what they could with what they had at the time because of the war, and because obviously, they had the strikes earlier, the year before, or 2 years before and whatnot, and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, the animation is really bad, as far as I'm concerned. And like Pedro, no. That is probably the worst one.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
No, did not get that at all. My favourite bit was Brazil.
The music at the end, which
loved the song, loved seeing Jose. I loved the paintbrush.
Yes.
And then the flowers turning into the birds.
Yeah. Do you know what? I must admit, when I was watching that bit, if Fantasia was like that, with that kind of music, I'd have a completely different opinion. Yeah, definitely. Because I recognise the song from Three Caballeros as well, although I think it's just the background of the song is in it. I don't think you can hear. I can't remember. I've not.
I'm sure that is in Three Caballeros, because I did recognise the song, but not from listening on Apple Music. But yeah, the Goofy, it was just like a poorly done Goofy cartoon.
Yeah. That was just going to be a Goofy cartoon, wasn't it? With cowboys, and then they were like, we'll just alter his costume. Yeah.
Well, apparently it was there's an extended version, and he is an American cowboy in one half, and then he's a South American cowboy in the second half.
Oh.
Because I think the gaucho is to do with a cowboy. It's a similar name to cowboy.
Yeah, it's a version.
And instead of riding horses, they ride llamas. Well, llamas, as they're called there. We say llamas, but it's llamas there, because the double L is a y sound.
Again, it's a school day.
I know.
If I'd have turned up, I don't think I'd have learned this much at school.
Well, that gets to my next point. So, this film had the potential, I think, to really educate.
I did learn. I learned about Lake Titicaca being a real word. One thing that I was fascinated by was, when I was doing research, I actually found that it was, people had the similar reaction, was the fact that there was skyscrapers and things in the cities.
Yes, yeah.
That, we think of things like Brazil, and we think
You think them as poor people.
Yeah.
And they're not. They have the poor, like we have poor.
Yeah.
And they have modern, like we have modern.
And I learned about that as well. That was something that I was like, oh. And reading what people thought of it at the time, that was one of their comments, where it was like they did not know. So I think as an educational piece, yes, I think you put that on in a school, you will get
not now
entertainment. No, not now, no, because they'll all want to go and smoke a cigarette with Goofy. But yeah, I can understand why they did it. I actually loved it.
No way.
Yeah.
I can't believe this, Stephen.
Yeah, honestly, I popped it on. I wasn't expecting... No, I'm lying. It was
I was going to say, Stephen, no, you're having me on.
Yeah.
Because
2 years at acting schools for that.
When I give you my result, this is... But yeah, no, in terms of what they could have done in regards to especially because of the stereotypes that Americans or people around the world had of that country. Because let's be honest, even when we were at school, it's the one continent that I learnt the least about.
Yeah, I must admit it's very much, and this isn't my opinion, but it's Speedy Gonzales.
Yeah, well,
that kind of
where
you've got the
it's films accent, that I would have gotten my education from.
Yeah.
About that, side of the world. Yeah. And I think the way that they approached this film is an example of they just could have done better. They had the opportunity, they were given the money.
Yeah.
And I feel like they could have done better. They had they were given, like, we need to make this country look good.
Yeah.
And yet, to me, it was still very caricature.
Mm-hmm.
And it just wasn't done well. Like, considering they although there was worries that they had their agendas involved with the war, they didn't have any restrictions as such going to that country because on paper they weren't involved in the war.
Yeah.
So they were able to do this tour and flying around and I think at that time as well, it was before what it is now. I mean, before the corruption that is known now, and before how live action movies represented it. They had the opportunity to get that good representation first.
Yeah. And
they didn't do a good job.
No, and you see, for me with the film, it did feel a bit Fantasia-y at certain points, but it looked like a school film to me.
Yeah.
Like, that was the type of thing that I imagine a big chunky TV being wheeled out into the classroom to learn about this other country before you do maths.
And it also felt like as if, now this is the sixth animated film. It looks as though it's their first.
Yeah, I mean, it's not.
You would not think that they'd done. The same people had done Snow White.
Yeah, no. I don't know why they class these in the same... Because you have films now where, like the Winnie the Pooh film, that's not a classic, it's an animated release.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like joint ventures when you've got things like Mars Needs Moms and the potato thing that they had recently that no one's seen.
I've not seen that.
It's a white thing. I don't... Like a white potato thing.
Don't know.
We won't be reviewing it, so I won't worry.
Okay.
Whereas these, I think, should just go in that section.
Yeah, and same with, like, as well, I found it's weird how they've decided on what's the classic, because when I was going, like, looking into the trivia, the Reluctant Dragon kept coming up, and I had to double check that was not part of the classics, and it's not.
No. And yet that's the one that is... There's more focus on that than anything from Saludos Amigos.
Yeah.
And I think that's just... I don't think it should be a classic.
No.
I think it was made to not be one of the classics, to not be one of their feature films. So I don't think it should be included.
No, I certainly don't think Disney would have intended this to be part of the classics. I don't know who made the decision that it was, and I think Disney would have objected to it because he could only do what he could with the funds that he had and the resources he had, because it was a war. I
mean, a lot of these war shorts were broken up.
Yeah.
So with the Pedro section, that would have been its own short release.
Yeah.
In fact, I think it was released separately.
Yeah,
and
it could have been.
the bit that was re-released and things. But even in Walt's lifetime, he broke up those films. Things that he had in his kind of vault that he wanted to bring out on his Walt Disney Presents or Disneyland show, and he would just bring those segments out because they're not going to be used anywhere else.
No.
yes, he may have used clips from other films, or he used Dumbo and Alice in Wonderland, but that was because of their length and their popularity.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas this kind of film, it's a cartoon. It's a cartoon short.
Yeah, I think the only thing that we can say they get from this is obviously they've increased Donald Duck's popularity.
Yes.
Which, what's the word? Counteracts what they did Fantasia.
Yeah.
Because Fantasia was made to popularise Mickey again because Donald had become popular.
Yeah.
But yet they then chose him to feature in the war. Now, that could have been done deliberate. Again, we've said he's known as the grumpy character, the one that we've got to help to change his mind, to look at the positive side of things. We know Mickey's positive. So
it could have been,
is it because, they don't want Mickey to be used in war?
Propaganda.
I'm using my fingers as quotation marks, but they don't want to corrupt Mickey and involve him in that, but they're going to use Donald. But at the same time, they've just done the opposite to what Fantasia's purpose was, and they've popularised Donald even further because he's no, it's not, but it's given him he's part of a classic.
Yes. Yeah. And
he continues, which we will get to.
We will.
Because he doesn't go away. He comes back in this era.
It could be that he's just a sailor and he's
travels. Stephen. I never thought of that. Yeah, could be.
Maybe.
Yeah, who knows? Because that was not in any of the facts that I found.
No.
The reason behind Donald being chosen. Goofy was really obscure. I did not get that. He felt so out of place in this film. Yeah. And he's on the front cover
of the DVD.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like even on Disney Plus, he is the face of the film, and it's like, why?
I think it's because at the time
it should have been Jose.
Yes, it should have been. But then he's used for the Three Caballeros. But then Donald's used
it, and so was the other one. Yeah, Donald's used for Melody Time.
Yeah, so it.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're thinking. I think it's just a case of who's in that one. Goofy, whack him on the front.
Yeah.
I'm not watching it to find out who's in it more.
So, your score out of 5?
1.
I gave it the same. 1.
Only for that final, what I call the final segment, so the Brazil bit.
Yeah, the Brazil bit saved it for me.
That got it to 1 point.
I was glued. I was like, with the paintbrush. The music, yes.
Yeah. If Fantasia had been there, like I said, I may have given Fantasia a high score, but unfortunately, just a 1.
But everything else was just too badly done that I couldn't give it a 2. I had to just stick with a 1.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
It's done. That film's done. I'm glad it's been watched. It's over.
Would I choose to watch it again?
Nope.
No. And the ultimate question. Should it be remade?
Yes.
Disney, if you're listening, Bob Iger.
Yeah.
All the things that you've chosen to remake, this is one of them.
Yeah.
Because
stay away from Snow White.
In terms of education,
yes,
this needs to be remade. And not saying word for word and use the same cartoons, but go back.
Please don't.
Send animators on a trip to South America. Yeah. Bring them back. See what because that bit in the film where it showed what the animators had sketched, those artwork,
whack it on Disney Plus.
Amazing.
Make a series out of it.
And actually show people how Argentinians live, Brazilians live, Chileans live.
Yeah.
The Amazon, the Andes. Go back to that mountain that I did.
Yeah, go back.
See how many plane crashes there are now. That's awful.
Yeah, that is awful.
No. I mean,
I can't believe you suggested earlier on that they saw a plane crash and
Yeah,
the first thing they did
and
was
they
got the
thought-
pencil out and drew it
No,
rather than
they
calling
thought-
someone.
They obviously remembered seeing that and thought, oh, wow, why don't we put that in the
Little
story?
cartoon about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I have to say really about this one. I'm kind of done. I'm glad we've watched it. And
Yes,
I
I'm glad
can't
that
wait
one
for the
is-
next one because I know that the next gets better.
It gets this period for me is a bit of a slog.
It's hard because of the time it was, and
Yeah.
we do appreciate that it was not
Yeah.
under normal circumstances.
I think because my issue with this point is from the beginning, from Snow White, obviously the best rated one for me has been Dumbo.
Yeah.
But the next really good rated one is like number 12.
Oh no, I get before
So
that.
there's a lot
Yeah.
of films in this period of time that I don't rate.
Yeah.
So
Don't worry, folks. I do.
yeah. Someone else too.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
but yeah, no, I'll keep going.
Which means you guys who are listening need to continue listening.
Yes.
We're gonna get.
Tell us, yes, yeah, just slog it out. What we're doing is we're making these ones as short as possible, so you just whack them through, you know. No, it's still been enjoyable because I got to learn the
Yeah.
Titicaca facts.
Yeah.
Just like saying the word.
Yeah.
It's inspired me to learn more about Lee Blair.
Yes.
The appreciation for Mary Blair
Oh.
I had anyway.
Yes, but it's now even more.
It's there. It started
Yes.
for me. This is the first time that
Yeah.
it's kind of started, and it's only going to get better.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously Joe Grant
Yes, I know.
continues.
I'm not
and-
saying this is his best, but
No,
he's there.
he's there. He's turned up.
Yeah.
He went on the day trip.
He's there.
Got his ticket.
His name is there. Yeah.
So, although the film itself, I'm enjoying the fact side of it. So
Yes.
Hopefully you guys are too.
Yeah.
So let us know if you've got any other facts as well.
Yeah.
Because again, this isn't a lecture.
No, it's just.
This is a session.
Yeah.
So we can all share those
Yeah.
facts.
And tell us what your score is. So you can either let us know on Instagram. If you follow us, it's at The Jamie and Stephen Show. Or you can email us, thejamieandstephenshow@outlook.com. Or, Stephen, where else can they let us know?
No.
You do.
Threads? Could it be? Yay! Yeah, let us know. Tell us your score, tell us your facts, tell us what you think.
Yeah. I mean, do you agree? Is this the weakest
So far.
so far?
Should we have scored it lower? Should it have been a 0?
Or should have it been higher? Do you think?
No.
There could be the odd one.
There could be. There could be someone out there who needs help. Who really loves this film.
So yeah, follow, keep listening.
I might not turn up next week.
You will.
Maybe.